Hello, class. Today I'd like to read to you the Boxcar Children. Now, I know that we were reading the Boxcar Children book 1, but we never got to get to the Sea Turtle mystery book, which I'd really like to read to you. So I would like for you to try to find the Boxcar Children 1 and finish it up yourself. But I'll give you a little background. So in the first one, remember Dr. Moore, Henry was working for, he was wondering who those children were. Well, he found out about their grandfather that had been looking for them. I won't give the story away, but needless to say, his grandfather for Henry and the children in Boxcar Children found them, and they did get to finally go with their grandfather. So that's where that lets off, and I'm going to start the Boxcar Children, the Sea Turtle Mystery for you today. Chapter 1. Here we go. What's in the water? 6-year-old Benny Alden was confused. He tilted his head to the side and looked at the map in his sister Violet's hand. Violet was 10, and she was helping teach Benny how to read the map. The two were in the back seat of Grandfather's car on their way to a place called Padre Island. Benny pointed. "I know this word. It says island, but I thought islands were round. This one looks like a big line on the map." "Padre Island is a barrier island," said Henry from the front seat. Henry was the oldest of the Alden children. At 14, he had learned from different land formations in school. Most barrier islands are long and narrow and not very far from land. They're kind of like big sandbars. Benny's 12-year-old sister Jessie spoke up next. "Look out the window! We're about to cross the bridge to the island." Within just a few minutes, Grandfather pulled into a parking lot and stopped the car. It had been a long journey, but the view was worth it. Behind them, seagrasses and flowering vines covered the sand dunes. The beach and the ocean were right in front of them. The 4 children jumped up and ran down to the water. Grandfather followed with Watch, the Alden's wire-haired terrier. Violet couldn't believe what she saw. "There are millions and millions of shells here," she said, picking up a couple. All different kinds, too. She was so excited about the shells, she didn't even notice when a big blue heron flew overhead. "It's such a wide open space. We can see for miles," said Jessie. "I'm going to take lots of pictures." "Where are all the buildings?" asked Benny. "There aren't any houses or shops on this part of the island," said Grandfather. Stop and show you a picture. Here's that big blue heron flying overhead. You can see them picking shells. This is a national seashore, which is a lot like a national park. The land has been set aside so it can be protected. Henry walked back towards the car to a sandy area in front of the dunes. "Jessie, don't you think this is a good place for the tent?" he asked. "It's close to the visitor center and the ranger station." "Yes, it's perfect," said Jessie. The children piled everything at the spot Henry had chosen. When they were finished and Grandfather was closing up the back of the car, a truck sped past them. It drove right off the road and onto the sand, and then it sped down the beach. "I don't know. I didn't know people could drive on the beach," said Henry. "That looks like fun." "This seashore is very long," said Grandfather. "It would take a lot of time to travel all the way down on foot. Vehicles help people get there faster. There are speed limits, but you have to watch out for cars on the beach." "We will," said Jessie. "Are you sure you don't want to camp with us, Grandfather?" Benny asked. Grandfather smiled. "I'm sure. I'll be happy sitting in a rocking chair on the porch of the inn back on the mainland. But when I see you in the evenings, you'll have to tell me all about your adventures." The children promised they would, and then said goodbye. After Grandfather had gone, the Aldens got to work setting up the tent and organizing the supplies. When they were done, Jessie looked over everything. She liked to keep things organized. "It looks like we have everything we need," she said. "It's a lot more than we had when we lived at the boxcar," said Henry. "That seems like such a long time ago," Violet said. "I can't believe we didn't even want to meet Grandfather back then." After the Aldens' parents had died, the children had run away. They hadn't wanted to live with their grandfather because they were afraid he'd be mean. They found an old boxcar in the woods and had lived in it until their grandfather found them. He turned out not to be mean at all, and now they lived with their grandfather back in Greenfield, Connecticut, and the boxcar was their clubhouse. Jessie picked up her camera and put the strap around her necks. "It was nice of Grandfather to arrange this vacation for us. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm ready to explore the beach." "Yay!" Benny yelled, running down the ocean. "The water is so warm," he called to the others. He jumped up and down, splashing. Then all of a sudden he stopped and looked down. Then he looked back up at the others. Jessie could see he was scared as he ran back up the beach. "There's something in there," he yelled. "It's after me." Whoa, Benny, don't be afraid, Henry said. The water's too shallow for a big fish. Jessie waded in and looked down at the water. Sometimes the way the waves move around the sand makes it look like something's moving in the water. It's just a trick of your eyes. But I did see something, Benny said. He stretched his arms out as wide as he could. Something this big. Henry and Watch came to the edge of the water as a big wave came in and then rolled back. Watch barked and stepped back a few steps. There, yelled Benny. Where Benny pointed, a big clump of sand seemed to rise up from the sandy bottom. Watch barked again at the strange shape, and then another wave washed some of the sand away, revealing a strange-looking creature. Benny was right. There was something